Yeah, and you can cut that too.
All right. Hi, thank you for coming today. What's your name?
Carol, St. John,
What was your name in high school?
Fars,
When did you graduate Montville High School?
1968, third graduating class.
And you said you had a cousin in the first graduating class? Your brother.
My brother Arthur Vars was in the first graduating class in, what would that have been, 65? I guess so.
You told me a little bit about your first day of school. Can you tell me a little bit what that was like when you were a little girl? And then
Grammar school.
Where was your school located in Montville?
Interestingly enough, it was in Uncasville School, which is now the town hall. And my first grade was on the first floor. I never went to kindergarten. I wasn't required. I missed the bus, got lost, decided to walk home with my neighbor. And, it's his first day of school, too, and we got lost. So we walked back to the school, and the next day, they gave us a ride home in a taxi. They were all mad at us because, we just thought we were going home. But the next day, the principal yelled at me and ripped my dress, and she spanked us both. And I got detention, and I had to spend a week what was it?
Recess?
Recess, thanks. Recess. I had to spend a week with my head on a desk during recess, which, interestingly enough, at that time was the catechism. The Catholic children at that time, once a week, they had catechism. So I had to sit through the catechism class because they were having it in the room where I was.
So they taught religion in public schools.
They taught religion in public schools. Not all religions, just catechism.
Yes. And so there was punishment in school, physical punishment that the teachers could do without getting in trouble or fired.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
There were such things like...
We got spanked. Yeah, it wasn't pretty. But that was the only time I have to say that I ever got spanked in school. And really, it wasn't my fault. We missed the bus.
You told me that you had several varsity letters, but for gym class, you had 2 separated classes. Was there any sports at Montville High School?
There was a lot of sports for guys, but there wasn't much for girls.
Was there any for girls, or what were your options being a girl?
Well, we had tennis. We could do tennis. We could join the ski club. As far as sports went, you're either a cheerleader or a baton twirler. Those were the things you got to do. We could not play basketball. We had intramurals, which once a year, several of the schools would get together and we'd play against them. We played badminton intramurals, basketball intramurals. We actually had archery intramurals, but that was it. That's it for girls. Girls didn't have football, baseball, anything that the guys have now.
What classes did you take, and what will kids today never know about?
Oh, goodness. Well, I took typing. Every kid in the world knows how to type now. But I took typing. We used a protractor and a slide rule, which I can't imagine children using a slide rule for anything today, or carbon paper. We didn't have copy machines back then, so everything was done. If you wanted a copy of something, you either hand wrote it over again, or you typed it over again.
Wow.
Or you used carbon paper to type it or write it.
What were right now in school, we have fire drills, we have lockdown drills due to school shootings and other different emergency events. What kind of drills did you have in school?
We never had shooting that I could ever remember anything like that happening when we were children. We had fire drills, and we had air raid drills. Oh, goodness. Whenever we'd have an air raid drill, we'd all have to get down on the floor and crouch down under our desk.
Wow, that's something that we've never even heard of.
Yeah, we'd all get down and we had to do it within a certain amount of time. I don't know what the purpose of that was, but we all did it.
You mentioned that for when you were throughout school for 2 months, you left down to go to Texas to visit family, right. And that's something that you could do at the time. And then you actually even went to school there. What was your experience in Texas? The difference between the schools and maybe some difference between like social issues such as like racism that you noticed?
Racism was alive and well. We left for 2 months. My father was going to some conference in California, and so we decided to drive down. And my mother took us all out of school for 2 months, and she took all our school books, got all our classes. The teachers were very cooperative, and every day we had classwork, and we saw a lot of things. We had to write reports on everything we did and where we went. It was horrifying. And by the time we got back, we were like 3 weeks ahead of all the kids in school because we
Oh my
had
God.
done so much work. My mother made sure we did it. And while I was in Texas, I attended one of the grammar schools down there. At that time, I was in the 7th grade. And they they're were way behind us, way behind us. They thought I talked too fast, read too fast, and I was just busy, you know. And they were black schools and white schools,
Wow.
and there were separate fountains, you know, black fountains, white fountains, black bathrooms, white bathrooms, literally everywhere, everywhere.
Oh my God. What was your first job like, and how much did you get paid?
Dude. My first actual paying job, I had $1.90 an hour, and that was the minimum wage. And it was for the outlet company, which was located in New London, where I guess ShopRite is now. Yeah, ShopRite. There was a two
Right near
stores there.
Marshalls and TJ Maxx.
Yeah, the outlet was towards the highway, 95, and two guys was on the other end of the mall, and that whole mall is gone now. There's nothing there. I worked in the towels and linens and curtains, that kind of thing, and we were expected to take people's measurements for curtains over the phone and give them to someone who actually sewed them right there, and then deliver them to the house.
Nice.
Yeah.
Where did you get your toys from?
You want the auction story?
You can tell me.
We were very poor, extremely poor. I know in this day and age it's hard to believe it, but we didn't have a bathroom. We had an outhouse, and then eventually we had a toilet that was in the living room. But that's another story. One time we were so poor that the whole town of Montville, you know how if you're like the poorest person in church, that's bad enough. But to be the poorest person in town is hard, because you're getting food from everyone in the town, and you're getting toys from everyone in the town. And that was one year. And another year, we didn't have any toys, and my father didn't have any money. And he and my mother used to like to go to these auctions. The Alquist brothers used to have an auction, and right here in Montville. And he would go every week. Every week they would go, and he never bought anything because he only didn't have any money. Well, he had $20 the last day that they had an auction, and they had something where every time they sold something, if they had one or two things left, one or two toys left, they would just put them aside. And then right before Christmas, they would make up different lots of those, and then they would sell them for $5, $10, $15, $20, $40, whatever. And so the boxes were $5, and they were nothing but a big cardboard box with $5 on the outside, and it was huge. I mean, it was half the size of a table.
Wow.
And he kept saying, "Okay, everybody, this is last two boxes." And then finally, he said to my father, he says, "Art, aren't you gonna bid on anything? You've been here every week and you haven't bought anything." And he says, "Aren't you going to buy anything?" And he said, "Well, I just have $20. He says, "Well, how about 3 boxes?" He said, "I thought you didn't have any more." Well, he pulled out 3 that he had saved for us. And he made sure my father bought those 3 boxes. And it was the best Christmas we ever had, because there were so many toys inside those boxes. You would not believe it.
Aww.
It was the best Christmas ever.
That's awesome. And then you also told me that your dad made you toys as well.
He did. He made our slide. We had a swing set and a slide. He made that. And he made jigsaw puzzles for us.
Wow.
Yeah. And he made this bracelet for my mother.
Nice.
He was very talented. but he's gone now.
How was welfare looked at?
People didn't want to be on welfare. It was a shameful thing. To this day, I can't think of anyone except one person in my entire family that's ever even been on welfare. We find a way because it felt like a handout, and back then it was a shameful thing. Much more so than today. Today, a lot of people do it because they have children out of wedlock. Back then, you didn't have children out of wedlock. You got married. You know, you got pregnant, you got married.
How much did gas cost?
30 cents. It was 30 cents when we first started going out with the car. My boyfriend and I, well, he used to get a $10 a week allowance. And for $10 a week, we could fill the car, go to the movies Friday, Saturday, and Sunday night, plus have all the snacks and everything we wanted at the theater.
And now for one person, it costs just the ticket to get in to the movies is $10.
Oh my God. See that? And we were set for the whole weekend, plus gas in the car.
Wow.
Yeah, shocking.
How things change. Where did you get your bread, milk, and pies?
When we were children, we had a milkman who came to the house. We had the Bond Bread Man came, that was the brand, Bond Bread. And the pie man, tabletop pie man came.
They sell those pies now, tabletop pies.
They do.
In the grocery store?
Yes, they do still. Bond Bread is going by, but yeah, they would come right to the house.
Nice. Now everything you have to go for, you have to go straight to the
Go
to the grocery
to
store.
the store and get it yourself. Nobody brings it anymore.
Yeah.
They do have home delivery somewhat now. I have noticed that that's begun to be popular, but it's still expensive to do. Back then, that was a way of life. They came to you.
Yeah. Now they have like grocery shopping delivery, so you can shop online.
Right.
And they bring your groceries right to your house.
Kind of the same, but not.
Now it's for laziness.
You think? I don't know. Back then, nobody had a car.
Yeah.
So they would drive to you.
Yeah. But it was the way of life. But now it's...
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for answering all my questions.
Thanks.
And helping me out. I'm sure everybody's going to enjoy it. And, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.